Hey guys, Bill Kennedy with W. Leon Artistry, and I just painted this today, and we are going to learn how to do it. Alright guys, so we're going to refer back to this later, but what I did to start out is I mixed up a color to match this tone right here, and I sprayed it right here on my reference so that I knew it was going to match. If you start out with about 10 to 12 drops of white and 1 drop of black, you'll be in the ballpark. Then we can thin out from there, and that's going to be to match this tone there. So as you guys go along, you'll be changing those colors. Also, you'll see when I was doing the mixing for the lip color, I sprayed it next to the lip on top of my reference so I could see it. But anyway, yeah, it's going to be important to pay attention to these color mixes later in the video. We're going to start out after we've mixed up that color, matches up on that edge. We're going to start out, we're going to use a freehand shield off of the chin. We've already got all our lines in here. We're going to take a freehand shield off that chin. We don't want to get any of that paint to mix up at the moment. And the reason why I'll show you in a moment. We're going to bring this down. Being closely paying attention to our reference. You'll notice how the light comes off of that chin, and I'll show you that point in a minute, how that matches up. Now we need, notice how the light, there's light on that chin, so we're going to mix up this tone here that comes off. We're going to add a little bit of white. Before we do that though, we're going to come up here and use our darker mix to fill in these spots in the ear. If you want a sharp line, make sure you get a shield in there. Get in close. There's a few gradients, a few oddball gradients in here we're going to use. Our darker mix, just go ahead and fill them in by laying less paint. As I was looking at my reference, I came back to my ear. I noticed that this spot right down here has a darkened spot in the bottom corner. So we made a head, and we laid that in a little bit darker. Just putting a little bit more paint in there, and I added the little dot with the earring. That might be a little bit too dark right now, but that's okay. We've got some work to do. Right now we're just roughing in. I'm going to take this same mix, and underneath the lip, you can see where I've got my lip drawn to the end of my lip. Underneath the lip, there's almost like a crease, and we will blend that out. Again, I've mixed up another tone. That's going to measure. That's going to be for this color right in here on the cheek. And we're going to come in here. We're going to put in, notice these lines. We're going to come in underneath this nose. We're going to put this here. And notice how this is brighter. So we're going to lay off that a little bit. We're going to bring that all the way up. That tone's going to run all the way up the nose. Alright guys, just in the future, just remember when I'm saying color, what I really mean is value, because we're not dealing with color right now. But anyway, just accept that sometimes I mess up my words. We're going to blame it on fibromyalgia fog. So yeah, that's going to be my story, and I'm going to stick to it. So I sometimes mess up the words I use. So anyway, um, yeah, keep on keeping on, guys. You be able to go to my Facebook page and grab this photo if you want to recreate this later. And I will, as soon as I get a chance to edit the links, I'm going to have some of my stuff in there, the materials I used. Obviously, you know how affiliate links work. That would help my channel greatly if you know, want some of these materials to purchase them through the affiliate link, of course. So we appreciate you. As soon as I get a chance, I will get the Instagram for the person that took this photo. So if you decide to recreate this photo, you'll be able to go to Pixabay and get the original, and then you can tag them on Instagram. If you look at your picture, this is what we're going to try to replicate here. So we're going to come in here, we're going to roughly run, we're going to follow this texture around below the nose. Notice how there's a darker shadow here. We need to come down here, get some of that color underneath the nose, some of that color around. When I was working on this, I actually grabbed one shade too dark of my gray. So later on, we're going to fix some of that. I just went ahead and went with it and used it because it was going to be just as much for me to fix it as it was going to be for me to go ahead and fix all them tones later, which I was going to do anyway. There's a bunch of tiny little wrinkles, and they're not really dark, but they're in here and they're underneath. So what we're going to use is something called a bounce technique. So I'm going to just take a tear some paper. I'm going to lay it in here kind of along in the direction. And so what we're going to do, we're going to bounce off of our paper to get those tiny little lines in here. We'll put a little lip color in here to make this much easier to judge and see. As always, guys, we're working slow. You're not trying to hit this all in one shot. I paint pretty fast as it is. I think I've got, and including my editing for this video, all the time painting, editing this video, getting it ready to upload, yeah, I am right at about 8 hours into it by the time I get done. I'm just shy of 8 hours right now. That's painting all, and that including all my video, and that takes it takes as much time to do the video as it does to. We're gonna come back in with some lights too, but you're gonna find that we're gonna go just a little bit darker for all the cracks, crevices, and then the shadow portion of our lip. We're gonna go ahead and get that done just because it'll make it easier for us to judge the colors around it. Using shields whenever we need to. This lip, there's a bunch of cracks come off. You get cracks up off the lips. And they're gonna get even darker. I'm just gonna find. We're gonna use subtractive techniques on the right side, but when we get down over here, I'm not gonna follow my cracks exactly. want you to watch, pay attention to how far back I'm actually popping off of that paper to make that go in. I've got that paper leaned down a little bit so it drops through there. And you get some really fine lines like that. You can also, if you crinkle it up a little bit, you can get some really cool texture effects and wrinkles. Obviously, using my pencil, my electric eraser there, I decided that it was actually easier, so later I just went back to my regular eraser and yeah, and did it manually. I'm going to do it just a little bit freehand. If you can't, you know, that's cool. Don't. If you're really careful, you get some of that texture going on the bottom of that. Make sure you cover the bottom of the lip. Hopefully you can see through. You probably can't see on mine, but when you use your own dryer sheet, you should be able to see through. Okay. Add some of that texture. Now we're a little bit too dark, but again, we have to put highlights in there. When we put the highlights in, that will lower the value. Yeah, you can see, and I'll be adding some more to that. This is from my reference drawing, these are. So I'll be adding some shadow darkening. These deep shadows will get to probably as dark of a value as anything gets in the whole picture, so it would be our highest value. We're going to darken this up just a little bit so it gets a little bit of definition. But before I do that, I want to go back and double check my dimension because it doesn't look quite right to me. And there is a highlight runs off the top of that lip. And those baby fine hairs are right there that most women wouldn't want to never admit they have. While we got that lighter mix in the cup, we're going to use that lighter mix right here, and that is going to be little shadows. Remember, don't try to paint an ear. Just make sure you get the suggestions in that are existing on your reference. In this particular case, you don't have to be extraordinarily accurate. Now, if you come in, this is where the hair meets. We'll throw that back. Also, the whites of the eyes are not white. We're going to bring in our grays there. We'll put in just lights, little bits of highlight off of that eyeball, matching what we see on our reference photo. Now we're going to put those dots in as we've seen on our reference. Is the spot underneath that lid, the inside of the eyelid, is a darker color. We're going to go ahead and put some in there. And it'll all look too dark until we start bringing our darker values in. So we're working off a process system right now. There's tiny little variations. We're just going to simulate some of those. We'll create some textures here, guys. Came in here, just lightly misted some color here. We're going to create these textures just a little bit. They're gentle. We don't have to be perfect. You can if you want to. Now I'm going to create some of those textures that come in underneath here with my pen. Remember, we've added color in there. We've added some of that lighter shade. We'll come back with that lighter shade again, I'm sure. That makes kind of an S curve, like that. I'm going to actually use and some of those little tiny pieces will cross over. We're going to simulate that just a little bit. Working with such light values, and you can go as far with this as you want by careful observation. If you'd like to. We're going to add some of that color back in over that crease because it is darker on our reference. Then I'm going to take between those lines right there, between this eyelash and this, I'm going to use my dryer sheet to create some of that texture for me. And if I get outside of the edge just a little bit, we'll clean it up with an eraser. I'm going to use my Blackbeard wheat in the mix we currently have. to create a few more spots on these eyebrows. Remember, pay attention to the direction they're flowing in. Some of these we'll get a little bit out and we'll clean that up with the eraser. We still got another color layer after that, or another value layer after this. We're only about 50 to 60% of our black value currently. I'm going to use my little wire. You guys should see that on my texture tool video. If not, this is just basically some wire. And while I got this 60% value in here, I'm going to start working on the hair. And the reason I'm using this texture is because it'll just help pay attention to the direction and flow. There's some very, very fine lines here. Just gently put them in. Want to add that color, come down, go back and look at your reference photo. There's a dark spot underneath that ear. I'm going to use a shield to create that crease. Clean up and add some hair textures with our eraser. Try to stay off that so you can see what I'm doing. If you erase back too far, no big deal. You can always add stuff back in. Remember, not to try to get too uniform. I'm going to take a little bit of a highlight on the top of that ear. Maybe too far, we can always go back and get our lighter mix and fix it. Alright guys, that's gonna have to be it for today. I tried uploading the video. YouTube has crashed on me 5 times. So I'm going to break this up into 2 parts. Put the first part, see if it'll get uploaded tonight. If that uploads okay, I will have the second part of the video tomorrow afternoon. Anyway, appreciate y'all stopping by. See y'all later.